Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Grow Yourself, your personal development school of growth. And boy, we got an exciting episode here today. We're really just going to talk about life and how to be adventurous. And I would like to start by saying this, that I believe there's a difference between reacting, against the world, if you will, I think you see a lot of that going on, and intentionally choosing how you live within it. One I would consider noise and the other is growth. And, most of us, if we're going to be honest, spend far too much time, living inside expectations that were handed down to us rather than more consciously choosing that, if you will. And over time, I have learned that real growth rarely comes from rebellion for rebellion's sake. It comes from awareness, from the quiet moment when you realize something no longer fits, no longer serves, or no longer tells the truth about who you are and who you are becoming. And, you know, that's not ego talking, that it's more what we would say discernment. So many people feel restless and stuck and disconnected, not because they lack potential, but because they're living tethered to fear or approval or inherited scripts that they never actually agreed to. Y- You know, growth begins when we're willing to loosen those ties and take responsibility for our inner freedom. And I want to say here too that I'm not talking about living a sloppy or a loose life or one without any care. I mean, you have to have care. You care about the people, that you live with or that you grew up with or that you have some responsibility with. But I would also say, especially as we're younger, we put so many constraints into our lives that we don't go out and meaningfully live it. We just get stuck in these routines. So today's conversation is about that kind of freedom, not reckless living, not rebellion as performance, but disciplined freedom, if you want to call it that. The courage to unlearn, one, what holds us back, to trust our creative instincts, and to live with intention rather than autopilot. So, my guest today embodies all of these things in a very beautiful way. Together, Aisha Makara and I will explore what it means to live untamed from the inside out and how rebellion with purpose, a chosen defiance rooted in growth rather than ego, and disciplined freedom from limitations, from expectations, from self-doubt, can become a powerful path to joy, creativity, and personal freedom. And so, again, let me introduce my guest, Aisha Makara. She's an artist, author, creator, speaker, and world traveler whose life reflects courage and curiosity and intentional freedom. She was born in Mongolia and orphaned at the age of 2. And Aisha's early life was marked by instability and challenge, and we'll ask her about all of that. Rather than allowing those beginnings to define her limits, she chose to define her life through her exploration and creativity and growth. Aisha earned a civil engineering degree, and I'm telling you, we're just starting here. This lady has done everything. I mean, so I can't wait to hear about it all. But she's earned a civil engineering degree in Norway and went on to found and operate a boutique hotel, a property management company in Lisbon, Portugal. And along the way, she followed an adventurous and nomadic path, traveling to more than 60 countries, building communities and selling her original artwork while living on the road. Her creative journey has taken her across continents, cultures, and disciplines, uh, always guided by curiosity and courage. In 2023, her work quite literally reached beyond the world when her art was engraved in gold and sent into space through a SpaceX collaboration. I mean, you know, she is also the author of Joyful Living Guidebook, a visually rich and thoughtful book that blends art and reflection to help readers cultivate joy as a daily practice rather than a distant goal. What stands out most about Aisha, though, is her fearless authenticity. She lives with a rare blend of softness and strength, adventure, grounding, creativity, and discipline. And her presence invites others to really trust themselves more deeply, live more boldly, and remember that life is meant to be lived. And so, with that introduction, would you please welcome my guest, Aisha Makara? Aisha, thank you so much for being on Grow Yourself.
Thank you, Kevin, for having me. I really like listen what I have done already in my life.
Uh,
I'm
y-
like, wow.
I can only imagine. And really,
Also, like I'm nearly divorced as well.
you're married and divorced as well. I mean,
I'm
you
that
you get
long.
you got to get that in there, though. I mean, you right? You got to get that in there.
Of
Well,
course,
listen,
that's true. At some point, it's like a part of the experience of like a part of the experience of human life, or like
right?
being a woman and being like kind of like pushed and having that pressure of society
No, that's exactly
after
right.
like after they finish university, you're going working in a corporate, working as an engineer, and after like all the pressure going to have a family and kids and have a big house and have a two cars, whatever,
Yeah,
it's
and
like normal.
none of that is wrong, even the expectations we have or these ideas, but it's a matter of not getting stuck in a place that you just live your life and you don't feel like it's where you want it to be or that it's going in a certain direction. But before we go there, Aisha, what I would love if you would do is to just tell the audience a little bit about, who is Aisha Makara, and like who was little Aisha? Tell us about little Aisha.
Well, where to start? My life in the beginning was not easy. I
Yeah.
mean, in my world, it's all programs, because as a kid you don't realizing it's the other life as exists because you haven't experienced
Hmm.
that, so you don't know. When my mother abandoned me, I remember
But
like
you were born in Mongolia, right? For
yeah,
starters.
yes, in the start, and after like moved to Siberia, Russian side, and growing up there was completely wild, cold. I don't know. It was super. I mean, from my perspective, it is what it is, right? It's like it's life. What happened is like I started to realize later, probably when I was like about 3 years old or maybe four, that I cannot get attention from the adults because it's too many other kids around. So,
Mm.
and I never had my toys or my clothes or my room,
Mm.
anything like that. So I learned it later in my life. When I already moved to Norway, I was like, "What is my?" I couldn't understand what is mine because I always share,
I see.
and that was very interesting because it's like you're sharing everything. You're
Yeah.
sharing, like you're getting something from the government, sent by government, and you're sharing that. You never experienced like my toys. Oh, it's my toys. I remember I had this like dog, like a toy dog that I was getting, but this was so like itchy, every time you're hugging it,
Yeah.
it's so itchy. And I was like, I like it, but it's so itchy every time. Anyway, I was like, and every time I got to fight for that dog, I remember with other kids, every time I just fighting, consistently fighting for toys and things and attention, and like I never receive hugs, or like nobody read us uh, fairy tale books or like a books in the night. It was like every time like a military.
Yeah.
I would say, like, if I will compare,
Yeah.
it's kind of maybe like a military.
And this was in Mongolia that you're talking
This is
about,
in Siberia.
and in Siberia, and it was so because life is very difficult there, right? I mean, it's about survival, I think, up in that region of the world. So you were born there, and then you said at age 2 you were orphaned. Tell us about that.
Well, my mother abandoned me. I think the reason, I don't know. I don't know the reason, but the point is like I end up where I end up. The only things.
Did you end up in like a foster home or something, or living with someone
Oh,
else?
in Russia, it's an orphan. It's like facility,
Orphanage.
uh,
Yes, I see.
like with 30 kids,
I'm
with
with you.
20 to 30 kids. I don't know, maybe different facilities has a different
Okay.
number, but it's normal kind of size. Girls and boys in the beginning were together, and after we're separated,
Mm.
two different rooms, but we don't have my room or something. We're sharing. It's like dormitory, whatever, kind of like military
Yeah.
style.
No, I get it.
We have a like general kitchen or like a like a cantina
Yeah.
where being cooked. Like sometimes we have a class like a classes we're cooking with adults, or like we have the time when they're teaching us. We washing the clothes. It's like it's everything is kind of like, but we're washing clothes everything like this,
Yeah.
like and
Yeah, I see. Yeah, almost like a commune. So, how long did you stay in the foster home or in the orphanage, I should say?
I was staying there until I was 15, I think 14, 15.
Oh my. Oh
Yes,
my.
because, I've been fostered a few times, but I was so rebellious. I was so aggressive and very, very not nice child. I mean, I've been child that didn't receive any love or didn't know how to communicate, didn't know how to, show the love. I was
Mm.
showing maybe, but it was like very wild. I was very, very wild, like literally like wild. And I remember when I started to run away from the facilities because I felt so unsafe there with other
Mm.
kids and adults every time screaming, punishing,
Yeah.
fighting. It's just like consistent noise of like this.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I first and the first time I was staying in a corner, just like playing with the toys. It was there. I didn't even talk to anyone. And after like I started to run away to the nature, to the forest. It was not forest, but it was kind of like a step open. And I've always been getting back from the adults. The other knew where I'm from and who I am, and the adults in the community knew.
Mm.
And the point is, like after a while, I learned how to escape things and how to kind of go and explore and
Interesting.
adventure around alone because I love my time alone because it was no noise, nobody screaming, nobody yelling,
Oh,
nobody
very
punching,
interesting.
nobody beating you up. You don't fight with anyone about attention, about toys, about whatever. I was so like in peace
Yeah.
with nature. In the beginning, I was doing it on my own, and after I've been every time punished, staying in the corner, beating up, and like embarrassed. The adults was like, "Oh, look at her! She's a bad one. She's always doing like nasty
Yeah.
things. She's a bad,
Person or whatever. Bad
bad
kid.
girl."
Yeah.
And so after a while, I was like probably analytical since like I'm a kid. I was like, what is better to go and enjoy myself alone in nature and just playing with myself and just find the things adventure around and be punished somebody getting me and be punished, or being here and be consistent fighting, consistent being in this like a stress. What is better? So I said like it's better to be embarrassed for 1 hour and beating up rather than be kind of getting this attention
I
that all
see.
attention is
Yeah.
mine. Like even it's like not healthy one, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I
But
still
how old were you thinking like this? How old were you when you were thinking like this, though,
I think
Aisha?
I've been between 3 to 4,
I
you
mean,
know.
that you were thinking about this idea of whether to go to nature and get punished and come or stay here in chaos and get punished, you know. You were
Yeah.
that young thinking like that.
Yeah, I was
How
thinking for myself.
incredible.
Remember myself. I always think for myself.
I see.
Like I always have my own way of thinking. Like I don't allow it. Like many times, I question a lot. Since I started to read
Yeah.
and write, I'm journaling all my life.
Mm.
I started to journal. First, it was just like a fact, what happened today.
Hmm.
I did this. I did.
Yeah.
And after a while, it started to be more emotional. I can describe the things. I can kind of like I started to write when I was very young. I was writing like a fairy tales, and after I started to write novels myself, I
Wow.
began everything when I was 17 or about 17, 16,
Wow.
17. And after I love reading. So I was spending a lot of time in the library, was reading like tons of books, like fairy tales,
And
mythology.
what language? In Russian
Yeah,
or
I was reading in Russian
so
that
let
time.
me ask this before you go. And I want to ask about, um, what happened when you left at 15, left the orphanage. However, before you go there, though, I want to ask two questions about the orphanage and your life there. One, do you ha have centered in your mind what it is that helped you from leaving in that orphanage that teaches you now? And the second question is, was there ever somebody inside of that experience from what, 2 to 15 that maybe you looked up to or that helped you or okay. So answer the first, the sounds like second question was just no. So
So I didn't have anyone who I look up to, like in that
yes, in
environment.
that era, yeah.
And the things is, what happened is, I because I've been this rebellious one, and still when I started to go to the school, I school was very easy for me. So I've been natural leader. I've been
Mm,
leader of the class every time. The whole responsibility was on me.
right.
Everything was like kind of like, oh, Aisha can do it. Oh, Aisha can do it. It's no problem. She can do it, you know. And I
Yeah.
always done all of it. All the
Yeah.
homework for everyone. I was doing the, helping everyone. All the kids when they were not good at school, I was helping because school was easy. I don't know.
Very interesting.
At the same time, the other part of me, the other Aisha was rebellious, the bad one. Every time was screaming and yelling to others. Every time, like kind of like being for my boundaries. Like I don't like this. I had my strong opinions,
Yeah.
and others didn't like it. So I've been always punished at school, at everywhere, like punished in the real sentence of punishment. Physical punishment, being in a corner, yelled. And
Emotional,
for
yeah.
me, I've been this like strong rebel is that I kind of learned how to stand up for myself. Even
I
so, it's
see.
very painful, physical pain. Like I didn't know how to express my emotions, because nobody kind of like teaching me how to do that. Nobody talked to me actually. Like I never had a like normal conversation with adults. It's always
Interesting.
just fighting or yelling or whatever. And I'm just feeling like when I'm getting a little bit older, let's say my teens, and then I started to feel more belonging. I started to wanted to belong. Thus I started to develop this very, very strong sense of belonging because I didn't want to be anymore alone. In my teens I want to be in the groups,
Yeah,
like
I see.
people. So the first, of course, I want to be in a group with my schoolmates, but it didn't happen. They didn't let me in. I was kind of like loner all the time, like I had friends, but they were not my friends. I never
You're
had.
still in the orphanage at this point?
I was still like, being going, and the kids are very mean, the saying mean things to you. Nobody loves you.
Sure.
Your mother abandoned you. Ha ha ha.
Mm,
And nobody needs you. So it's kind of like this abandonment issue as well. Like you started to fight as a kid
sure.
at the time. You're protecting yourself. You're protecting your boundaries. For me, it's like doing so when I was at, let's say, 13. Like I was probably like 11, about 11. I've been not adopted, I've been fostered, because in Russia it's like people can foster you, like make you as a slave to work in a, for them to help out and
Yeah.
something like that, like working in a farm, doing these
Yeah.
things. So I've been very, very grateful that I am part of this family. The lady was nice. Like they had other kids, so I kind of like to hang out with them. It was like nice environment. But the man was very, very brutal and very physical abused, and he was
Mm.
alcoholic. He was drinking so much, and I went to complain to the social offices. I was telling like, oh, he's beating me up. He's not just beating me up, he's beating up the other kids. But I'm the only one who went to
Mm.
the, complain about that. And they deliver me back. The social workers, they'll deliver me back, and they said that, oh, she complained.
Oh,
So you got to kind of like, you know, keep her down or whatever.
yeah.
And they beat me up that day. The family, father beat me up, the mother
Mm.
beat me up, and
Because you complained?
yeah, so I stopped to complain that I cannot go and say the things what's happening in the house. And and they continue to do that. They will continue. I was the only one who was like not nasty one, bad one every time. So I started to just run away. I started to be in the streets. I don't want to go to this house. And I was a teenager. That's when I started to feel this belonging feeling. And I started to kind of
Yeah.
like want to belong. And, um, and I remember when these things started to happen, I ended up with the street kids
I
like me,
see.
and
Yeah.
of course, when you started to do with the street kids, you're doing nasty things, like not nice things, not
Right, right,
stupid
right.
things. You started to drink, you started
Yeah.
to smoke cigarettes, you started to do drugs, and
Mhm.
it's normal. It's kind of like
Yeah. Yeah, it's
normal.
the cultures, there is a culture that you get involved
Exactly.
with. Yeah.
And it's
And
not, it's the same. Like in Russia, maybe not so much drugs, but still
yeah.
drinking, it's a lot of
Yeah.
alcohol, a lot of things, it's a lot of criminal, the
Yeah.
violence, the criminal violence, whatever. And
Yeah.
you in that environment. So I stopped to go to the school sometime.
Hmm.
I've been about maybe 13, 14 that time. I didn't care anymore about this family. I was staying there. Sometimes I was just staying in a shelter. And I've been this bad girl anyway all the time. And every time just calling me like names. And I've been like a whatever, everything. And
Hmm.
after like, even so, I didn't do anything. In my mind, I was like, I was with these people, I was these kids. And adults was just nasty to me all the
Yeah.
time, and just couldn't understand. The teachers changed their opinions about me in such a short
Hmm.
amount of the time after me not going to the school. None of the teachers come to me and ask me how we
What's
can
going
fix
on?
that,
Yeah.
what's going on, why it's happening. And you've been such a good girl, like I've been very good at school and so on and so on, and here you are, something is off, what's happening.
Wow.
Nobody was interested, like helping me out to get out of this
Yeah.
environment, or like getting out, and teaching me, or like
Yeah.
supporting me, or guiding me. So
Yeah.
at that moment of my life, I get to show myself that guidance when, in some point, all these people or these kids I hang out with started to die of different accidents. I get to face the death. And I've been raped as well, but like it's many things happen in such a short, and this maybe like 4 6 months of my life.
Yeah.
And um and I was like, oh my gosh, so what's something happening? Would I live until I'm 18? Would I would actually survive
Ah,
with all the things I'm doing right now, with all these kids I'm hanging out, and the way I am, this rebellious one, so much drama every time. Even so, I'm just expressing my truth,
yeah.
just my rebellious truth.
Just
I'm
what you know.
standing
Yeah.
up for myself, for my truth, that I just
Mhm.
want to communicate my boundaries.
Yeah.
That please don't validate my boundaries, and they still consistently doing that. So I was like, was so rebellious in that sense, that was like I didn't like when people do that. I'm free, and I was from the beginning. I was just have this like very strong sense of freedom, that I was telling you cannot validate my boundaries. You cannot
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
What's up? I'm a free human being. I'm a king or queen of my world, even if it's just matter by matter. It's my. Please respect me. And
Yeah.
people consistently like entering my space where I felt uncomfortable, and not safe. And then eventually, of course, I've been very, very feeling not safe. It
Yeah.
hurt me in such a
Yeah.
level that I've been killed, almost in
Yeah.
many different situations. But the thing is, I survived, and I
S-
was still like alive. I've been so like resilient in so many
Sure.
ways.
So
So,
tell me this then. So where was the big pivot for you? Where
yes,
was the big turn?
yes, this is where we're getting. So what happened is I started to face all this death of the people I was being with, and I was like, I cannot do that anymore. I was sitting there one day, and I was like, I was a suicidal as well. I started to be suicidal. I started to like take my life. I was doing so many, like it was so mess. I was feeling so lonely. Nobody around there to support me. I've been saved several times, and the angels is always was with me. And my last suicide was like about 19, I think. But anyway, and I decided like no more. I will not do that to me myself anymore. But what happened is like I said to myself, I get to go to finish the school. I get to go to the university. I get to change this environment. I get to get out of this place. Because even so, when I was 10 years old, I think like about 9 or 10, I sent a letter to the language school. I want to learn English because in my environment it was just German or French.
Mhm.
And And I started to learn in my own English. I write like very long letter, motivation letter, it's called like
Mm.
that, when I was about 9 years old, to this English school, asking them to send me English, like all the books and something like
Books. Wow.
that. And they sent me for years.
Wow.
And that was my probably the first like kind of like one of the first like my motivational things that I wanted, but I didn't have capacity, like I didn't have money, I didn't have anything, but I was creative. Like, okay, I just write a letter,
Yes.
I just send to
Yes.
this address, asking for their if they want to help me, they will just send it to me, and that's, and put my address in it. And I started to receive the mail lady, or like the post officer, started
Hmm.
to bring me this for years. It was very nice because I was listening to the cassettes, I was doing all this work on my own. Yes, and then when I was 10, we started to have like a geography class, and I was telling to my teachers, I'm going to travel around the world. I'm going to go to all these places. And they were like laughing at me, but I already communicated that. I said, like, I'm going to all these places from these pictures. And I did, in 20, I already been all of them. But the
Wow.
point is like, I was already kind of like using my imaginary, but my imaginary was broken.
Imagination. Yes, 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 yes.
Imagination. Thank you. I was so rebellious and rebelling until I'm 10. But when I become a teenager, they broke my, the people around me was breaking my spirit. They tried to break my well-being.
Yeah.
They
Y-
completely
Yeah.
just trying to destroy me as me,
Yeah.
my personality, my rebellious way of being
Hmm.
as a kid. Because
They
as a
wanted you to just submit and comply, right? Comply with what we're do what we say, and that's it.
yeah, that's it exactly, and
Wow.
I couldn't.
That was not Aisha, huh?
Exactly. So what happened is like that pivot moment of my life. It's I face it as I get to finish the school, and then I started to talk to the teachers. I said
Mm,
I want to be a journalist. I want to travel and be a journalist around the world, and I want to like go to the journalist to the university to be a journalist.
mm,
And so I did all these exams. In the end, when we finished the school, I did extra. I started to go extra, extra mile, extra things. I was every time editing extra, extra, extra to kind of finish and a little bit better score. But still, they push me down just because, of my that whatever rebellious time that I've been like, talking to not nasty to the teachers. I've been not nasty a little bit to everyone for like maybe like just few months of my life. But they were like so mad about that I've been like that. So they put me very very low score, special the scores for my to enter the journalistic university, or like to become a journalist. And so I was crying. I was remembering my last day at school when we're going out, everyone is going out, and I was crying and crying and crying because I was like so unfair. I just feel like it's just so unfair. I was serving this for 10, 11 years of my life, and here I am, like they just pushing me down. These people are completely like asshole, like
yeah.
it's completely like they don't even want to support me. They want me to die here. They don't care, they don't have heart.
Right.
So I was like, when my turn is happening to go like and say like the last word to the school and say thank you, I
Hmm.
said like fuck you everyone.
Ooh,
I was really really like
you
mad. I
just
was saying so many, I was crying, I was couldn't, and somebody took like I just dropped the microphone and I just want to walk away. They put me back and I was like embarrassed, of course I'm feeling very embarrassed because I felt so unfair in that moment, and I
yeah.
felt like so like crying and feeling why these people do the things. I was doing my best. I bring the best bonuses, best scores to the school. They're doing that extra exams for them. That I make extra money for the teachers. That they can make extra, money for that year for themselves and for the school. Put the school to the better place in the
Yeah.
region. And still, I've been the bad one. And I was like, it's so unfair. And I was like, that moment, the first time in my life, I realized that life can be so unfair. And that's why I said to myself, you know what? Now I'm just doing what I want to do. I'm going to the adult life, and I will figuring out in my own what I want to
Okay.
do.
So now you're 18 or 19 or so,
Yeah, I was like about 16, 17. Yeah.
Okay. So then and so you're still in Siberia, correct? And what happens when you finally make a decision to leave? And how did that happen?
I just took a bus to the like other big city,
You
and
just decided to take a bus, I'm
a
leaving.
little bit of money, when you finish and something
Hmm.
like that. So I had that, and I just left to the university. No, like to the do something and apply for different universities. So what I did, I just like went to the Google. That time already had a Google. I went to the Google or Rambler, I don't remember, but there was a Yahoo, and I said, "Who we need right now?" And it was engineers and doctors. And I'm like, okay, I cannot be a doctor because I cannot like look at the blood. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to get into the engineering. So I apply for different engineering like universities that have engineering like department,
Hmm.
and I got in. And we've just been like a
To Norway? In Norway?
I was still in Russia. I moved to
Oh,
Norway
you're
like
still in Russia.
2 years
Okay.
after that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And but I was so good at the university. I was doing a lot of activities because I started also to travel, hitchhiking. I was getting like into this hitchhiking club, and I started to travel around Russia with hitchhiking people. And so I went to Moscow first time, and I was like, oh my gosh, Moscow is so big,
Yeah.
huge, and I'm feeling so small. But I was like having this idea, if I'm moving to Moscow, I can move around the world. The world is going to be more open for me. Or somebody told me, and I went to this workshop of, he was a very famous hitchhiker in Russia. He was in his
Mm.
50s, late 50s, so he had this workshop how to, safely to travel around the world and hitchhiking around the world. And he had this whole workshop. He wrote the book. I bought his book, I remember, to understand how to live like at that level of freedom. And he was telling us his favorite countries, I remember. And I was like, I get to move to Moscow. I talked to him, and he said, like, you get to move to the bigger city if you want to, travel around the world. And he was living in Moscow. That
Hmm.
workshop was in Moscow. And I was, okay, I'm moving to Moscow, but I didn't know anyone. So I got to figuring out. So I started to go all these different forums. I started to organize forums. I was volunteering my time after the school, of the university. Every time I was just working, 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 volunteering, volunteering. Plus I was working as well, separately of it. And eventually when I moved to Moscow, I did a forum outside of the Moscow. And after, from that forum, they noticed me because I've been organizing a lot of things for my university, and they said to me, what about you move to Moscow, as a to this university, also like connected to continue to study your engineering? And I said, like, yes, I am. I'm moving. So I still get to share, like with other students. I get to live
Sure.
in the student residency, but it's not like in Europe or America. Eh, we sharing together. We're living 3 or 4 people in one room. We
I
just
see.
like
Yeah.
bang beds, or the beds is there.
Sure.
I get all the time like sharing. And I remember when I was to Moscow, I was consistently organizing forums, consistently organizing this events. It's every weekend, every single weekend. I was organizing every single weekend. We're going to the different camps, summits, and organizing. And I've been every time on the stage talking, been hosting, and doing a lot of
Wow.
things consistently. And eventually, I think 6 months later or 4 months later, I don't remember, but like some of my friends, all my these new friends, they were went to America for the work travel visa, and like many 90% of them wants to live in America.
Hmm.
I never wanted to live somewhere like outside of Russia. I didn't even consider that. I didn't even question that.
Sure.
I want to just travel, I was continue to travel. I want to have time hitchhiking. I always manage my money. And I bought a house when I was 17, like, and
What?
yeah, it was so many things I was doing. I'm hyper active, and because I didn't drink, I stopped to drink after this situation. It was this pivot moment. I didn't get into this bad company. I was alone, solo most of the time. Was very working very hard, getting into all these different activities, different environments that was healthy for me, the sports, and so on and so on. So like, I didn't have any friends. Everyone wants to be my friend, but I didn't want to be friends with anyone. I was just in my own, having my own.
You wanted your own life. Yeah. Yeah.
my own goals, the West. I
Yeah.
don't want to be distracted with
Hmm.
all these. I have my own, you know,
Path.
things I want
Yes.
to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what happened is 4 months later, I in Moscow, I applied to Norway. Like I write motivation letter to the universities in Norway, Germany, and Netherlands. And Norway answered me the first one, and I get into the Norway for 1 year. It was like a culture Norwegian language or something like that. And my friends was like, Aisha, you shouldn't go. You have a career here. My mentor that time, who helped me to get me from my city to Moscow, he said to me, stay here. It's like it's better for you to be in Russia. We have a things for you. We have a goal, we already planning you to have
Plan. Yeah. Yeah.
career
Career path. Yes.
for that, because I get to be in politics. I get to be
Hmm.
more, I was doing all these political also things on the
Hmm.
side. Activist. I was very like political activist, let's say like this,
Hmm.
very young one. And what happened is I said like, oh, no worries, guys. I just go for like for a few months or 4 months, whatever. If I don't like it, I come back. It's not a big deal. But I never come back. I just, finished that. I transferred all my documents from Russia to Norway, and I continue to study there. And I just started to work. And after first year in Norway, I just knock on the doors, asking for a job as engineer. I was like, I'm studying, I'm doing it because I get to do a lot of things. This is what I used to.
Yeah.
I was consistently doing a lot of things because I get to stay distracted in my
Yeah.
doing, 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 doing,
Yeah.
because after my last suicidal accident, I was in love, and I was feeling like love is not for me,
Mm-hmm.
because I was in love and was madly in love, and
Hmm.
he left me for the other girlfriend that he was before me, and he said, "Oh, you're a strong woman." No, 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 no. He wrote me email. I remember,
Mm.
and he said to me, "You will get over it. It's not a big deal.
Mm.
We've been together for 4 months, whatever, 5 months." But for me, it was like I
Yeah.
was already planning to move with him to Turkey because he was engineer. He working as an engineer. He was traveling, and He was working in the oil industry, and he was traveling a lot to Turkey. And he's supposed to move to Turkey. And I was like, okay, I'm moving with him. I create all these ideas or expectations about us, and it didn't happen. And I was so disappointed. I was so sad. So I kind of like, took a lot of pills, and I want to just don't live anymore here. I
Sure.
was so disappointed. But after that, when I ended up in a mental facility, and I went through the conversations and went my first therapy, I call it like this. I said, I never ever again do it to myself. And after that, never ever again. I moved. I finished. I moved to Norway. A few months later, I moved to Norway. No, few not 1 month later, I moved to Moscow, and after I moved to Norway, and everything just started to kind of like unfold itself. And
Yeah.
when I was 20, when I turned 20, and I already traveled all the places I want to go. I was like, I'm a winner. I was staying at the Times Square, like on a New Year's in New York. And I'm like, I'm a winner, staying in a rooftop restaurant, this nice, beautiful Calvin Klein dress, very small one. I'm a winner. I'm a winner. I'm a
Oh
winner.
my.
And for me, it was like moment where all my dreams is just happened just because
Yeah.
I was just working consistently. I realizing even so that moment of me, that love story didn't work out. That was actually good for me. It was
Yes.
everything was just working for the
Yes.
best.
Well, you're touching on the idea, obviously, that hard times can bring about I mean, there's you know if you handle them correctly, hard times can bring about wisdom and movement and better understanding and insight into life. So, Aisha, let's get into sort of the theme of our conversation, because we, speaking of me and the audience, want to learn from you. You're still a young woman, but you have done so much already in your life that I want to encourage other people to be, you know, brave and bold and step out there and do things. So maybe let's just start by introducing your guidebook. what tell us about that a little bit so that we can understand. And I'm going to use that to kick off some ideas. So it's called joyful living, right?
Yes.
Okay. So do you discern, do you uh, imagine a different definition of joy versus happiness?
Yeah.
Are those two different things for you? Tell us the difference in your way of thinking.
For me, joy is a state. I filter everything in my life through the joy.
I
It
see.
doesn't matter what's happening for me, the good, the bad, the ugly. I filter everything through the joy, and I'm grateful for that because I call it like I have a joyful sadness. I'm experiencing that because it's life.
Interesting.
I'm continue to live day by day. Yes, I'm not happy. I don't have that level of happiness right now that you normally I do, but the thing is, it's okay. That's how I can know sadness without happiness.
Mm,
How I know the happiness without sadness. So it's
hmm.
everything is interconnected. It's yin and yang. It's like, the light
Yes.
dark is going all together. So when we filter everything through the joy, joy is a state. So
Mm,
you're in a consistent joyful state. Yes, it's okay to be scary sometimes when you have a drama in your life, for example. So I'm learning as well, when you're staying in this joyful state and you're communicating your boundaries, you're communicating your truth, you trigger people. When you're using the mirror, you you trigger people like outside. So you cannot control what's happening outside, but you can
right.
control what's happening within, out inside. The thing is, I'm a also vulnerable human being as anyone else. But the thing is, I'm not responsible what's happening in other people heads or like brains, because some people living in hell, they
Yeah.
think they're living in hell. You
Yeah.
cannot do anything about that. If you talk to them about joy, they will not understand you. So happiness is it's like it's a moment. I can be happy winning something. I can be happy
I
to
see.
eating or drinking my favorite coffee, or eating my favorite chocolate. That's happiness. It's just a moment. I'm
Yeah.
very happy in the moment. I still can be sad in a general state.
Yes.
Like I can enjoy these happy moments,
Yes. And yes, and part of what I hear you saying is that if you live in this state of joy, that this is a current that runs underneath, as you said, it doesn't mean that you can't feel sadness or other emotions, but you recognize as you filter it through joy that the sadness is if you lost somebody that you love, it's because of the love. So you don't just think, oh, my life is ruined. You recognize that this is a difficult moment in my life, but the other end of that is something better, and I can recognize it more. Is that sort of along the lines of what you're saying?
exactly. But also, I learned one things. I used to say, when one door is closing, don't hold
Mm,
to that.
mm,
Don't try like keep it or attach to that. Don't be attached to anything. Always flow. Learn how to flow, because life is life. Life will continue. And I used to say to the people, life is experience. If your dog died, or your mother or father or your sister, it's a part of the experience. Don't stuck. Continue to do your
right.
best to flow, because they want you to be happy. They
Yes.
want you to be joyful. Yes, they're not here anymore. The thing is, if they would be here, they want to see you happy. They want to see you continue to enjoy your life. They don't want to feel you miserable,
Yeah.
drinking, being, doing this. Yes, you can do that too, but like, I
Yeah.
recognize that it's a temporary thing. That's what I feel, and let it go.
Yeah. Yeah,
Stop,
because
stop, and let it
yes,
go. That's all the things for me.
that's
So
right.
but like it's life is continuous.
Yes. If you don't, it sounds like you're saying, at least in part, that if you don't understand, if you don't, no, if you don't allow room for difficult times, for negative emotions, for sadness and these other things, um, then you, it's hard to appreciate the greater times. It's difficult to work your way out of that and come back to a place of joy. Joy is your center, right? Your focus.
Exactly.
Oh, and I was going to say that if you have these fear of things, oh shoot, I lost my train of thought about it. But anyways, I had a good point behind it. I just had too many thoughts going on at the same time and lost track of it. So, how would you encourage somebody, to transition from this idea of wanting to be happy all the time versus to create this state of joy? Where does one begin to employ that so that it becomes a regular part of their life and not just momentary?
For me, it's first how I look at it is like practice, meditation. Like do the meditation, put affirmational words, like word of affirmation. I used to do tapping, like create your own
Mm,
story.
yeah.
It's like meditation is one of the things, in word of affirmation, writing the journaling, like do the journaling consistent. In the beginning, you get to write the story, you get to rewrite the story that you're telling to yourself. You know, from the like oh I haven't done this, from regret, like regrets you get to create, I'm a winner, I have
Mm,
done this, I created this, I travel, I've done, even I married, I divorced, whatever, whatever it's there. The thing is you get to rewrite your story in more meaningful and intentional way. It's up to you to decide. But the thing is, every time when you're practicing joy and want to be in a state of joy, you can experience still, as I said, you can still experience sadness and
mhm.
yeah, all this emotion, but don't allow them to stay for too long. Understand, I'm enjoying my life. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying my sadness.
Yeah.
Use that filter of
Yes.
joy. uh, Filter everything. I used to say to people, filter everything through joy,
Yeah.
because life is continued. You will continue to live day by day. If you're stuck in a sadness or you're stuck in a misery, that's the worst can happen. People feel miserable. It doesn't matter how big houses they have, cars, a lot of materialistic stuff, money. They feel miserable inside, and it's not easy to get them out of that misery because they've been there for so long. It's not easy for them to get out. And maybe many of them don't want. Many people have an issue with trust, but I used to say to them, listen, you got to trust yourself first. Trust that you can do, and be aware people are people. We have a human factor, and that's what I learned in my engineering career. You want to avoid the death in your projects and something like that when you're building road, tunnels, and bridges and houses or construction, but still the death is happening. Why? Because of the human factor, because people drinking, people don't sleep, people, overworked, they're stressed, something happened in the family, so
Yeah.
many emotions going on, so much drama, whatever. So the only things, you have a human factor. So accept that you cannot control other people's minds, you can
Mm,
control their emotions. These things can happen. So be just aware. What you can do is practice your own stability within. Communicate clearly your boundaries. Communicate clearly your needs and wants. And don't be attached. If I communicated with you, I say to you, okay, Vin, I want, for example, water, or like whatever. I want you to get me to this course, and it costs $200, whatever, or 2,000 bucks. And you say to me, Aisha, I cannot do that today. I cannot afford you right now $200 or $2,000 course. So I don't need to, I get to work, or if someone, I can continue to ask things, other people, and the someone will get me or give me that what I need. It doesn't need to be particular from you. I don't need to be attached to
I
one person,
see.
mother or father or my
Yeah.
husband, my
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
I
That
can
there are just
still
different
ask for
ways of
support.
getting to that end that you're looking for. Yeah.
Exactly. I can still ask for support from so many other people who can give me that support in a moment, that emotional support, mental support, physical support, whatever, carry some
Yeah.
things from the ground floor to your room or like to your place. You can ask random people in the
Mm,
street if they have time for that, or if
yeah.
you see someone. The thing is, you don't need to ask your friends or waiting so
Yeah.
on. Every time is a solution in the moment.
Yes, got it.
For that, you get to look for that solution.
Yes,
You get
very
to look
interesting.
for that in the moment. What
Yes.
I can do right now. Do I really be want to be attached to wait on my friends or my husband or my wife or my parents or whatever? No. So many other people can support you. 8 billions of people on the planet Earth. If someone doesn't want to be your friend, 8 other billions probably
Hmm.
wants to be your friend. So why
Yeah.
to stop or and be miserable and trying and trying and trying to get your friends from the depression or from wherever they're in for years and years, when you can just say, okay, it's enough for me. I cannot drain
Yeah.
myself anymore. I want to be way more
Yeah.
happy, because you can always choose the friends.
So
Family you cannot choose, but friends you can always choose.
that's right. And as you said, there's many, many people out there that, and I talk about that sometimes about how you find your friends and how important it is to be with people. And these don't have to be close people, but people that will support you, that will be honest with you and, and share their thoughts and feelings about it. So let me ask a little bit about your travel, because you've done a lot of traveling, something like 60 countries or something. I mean, for a young woman, that's a lot. What have you learned about people, generally speaking, in traveling to all these different places? What have you learned about people?
So I learned one things about Asia. It's Asian people completely traveling in South Asia or South America or America or or Africa or here in Europe. It's very different. People like to share the moment with you. People
Mm,
like to help in the
yeah,
moment. People want to share absolutely anything they have in a moment with you, because you're a stranger and
yeah,
you're not in their country. They don't know you and they want to share the best of their culture, the best of the country. They're sharing
mm,
with you so much information, so much good, so much, you're feeling like a family with them in that moment.
mm,
So from my perspective, what I learned, for example, from Asia, is like people really giving in the moment. They really want to invite you to their houses. They want to feed you. They want you to stay there. They want to like that you experiencing everything,
I
all of it.
see.
And Europe is a little bit different because of the cultures depends, the South Europe or North Europe. It's completely different, the mindset and everything like that.
Sure.
For me, America is like happiness. When I was traveling a lot of time to United States, I was like, oh, everyone is so happy.
Mm,
Everyone is so happy. But it was not true as a traveler, because they meet you in the moment. They want to just give the best of their moment, of that happy moment.
yeah.
And in South America, it's very like, what I'm learning is like they givers, they really want you to also, like, it's kind of like a similarity with Asia, like they really want to experience their culture, experience their food, experience their traditions, experience their dance, everything. They're driving you around, they're like showing you around, they're very very excited, they're way more excited than when I'm traveling in Asia. For example, like South Americans are very, very excited. Like, South
Mm,
is kind of like the same way, but South Americans, they're way more excited. They're more like a kids. There's like consistent,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
consistent.
Wow. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
African,
Yeah.
for example, they're very dancey. They love to dance
Uh-huh.
with you. All
Yeah.
the time, go to dance, let's go to dance. And it's always like dancey, dancey, dancey. So like,
Mm,
from my perspective, everyone is like have something, but most of them it's about sharing and helping
mm.
in the moment.
Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful
Nobody
thing.
wants to like harm you, or
Right.
of course you can meet these people too, but I'm just
Of
saying,
course.
my
But the
experience.
vast majority of people in the world, yes, they come from a place of goodness, and they want your life to be good, and they want their life to be good. Well, listen, I'm going to before we close it out here, and I'm going to ask people where they can get in touch with you. But first, I want to ask you a few, I guess what I'd call quick fire questions that you have to answer very very briefly as I ask these questions. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so question number one is, Where is the where's the favorite place that you travel to? Where's one of your favorite places? And with 60, that's a lot.
My favorite places, I believe it's Miami and
Oh,
Paris and
no
Lisbon.
kidding.
I'm living
Beautiful.
right now.
Yeah.
And I also have some places, I think, in, yeah, when I come back, Italy. I love Italy,
Yeah.
Milan,
Italy's a lot of fun.
Florence, Italy, general, my one of my
Yeah.
countries I
Yeah.
went there so many times. And
So let me ask you about your what energy, what vibe you like the most. Is it mountains, ocean, or city energy that you like the most?
ocean.
Ocean? Very nice. Yeah. That's very nice.
Because
Um,
I'm sailing. I'm going to sail for 6 months
are
next.
you kidding me?
I'm a captain. I got my captain license this year because my one of my biggest adventure I want to do is sailing around the world. And next year I'm taking the boat from New Zealand to Portugal.
Wow.
Huge.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's I said yes to this opportunity because both is beautiful, beautiful people, and I said like I love these people. I hang out with them here in Portugal in Lisbon, and I said yes, I want to go. You're going to be my
Oh,
choosing
that's
family for 6 months.
oh, that's gonna be incredible. Wow. Oh,
Yeah,
well, you'll
New
have
Zealand. Can you believe it? Right
New
now we're
Zealand.
in,
That's you're starting in New Zealand?
yeah, because the boat is parked in New Zealand,
I
right?
see. I see. Okay. Okay, so let me ask you this. What is one habit that keeps you grounded no matter where you are? What's one habit that keeps you really grounded no matter where you're at in the world?
Meditation.
Meditation, very nice. And when you meditate, Aisha, what is your goal in a particular? So if you sit down for 10 minutes or 20 or 30 minutes or an hour, what is your what is your purpose? What are you attempting to do there?
Intentions. For
Mm,
me, it's all about intent because I used to have intention of the week, intention of the months, intention of the year, and
mm,
intention of the day. So I'm always, when I'm meditating, I'm always focusing on that intention of the day and
I
intention
see.
of the week and intention of the months.
I see.
Really, it's every time intention is kind of like a grounding me and it's rounding me as well. So
Yeah.
it's amazing to have them because next year my intention is a growth. It's like it's going to be
Ah,
stability,
very
structure,
nice.
focus, and growth, deep growth. One of my
Perfect.
intention of the year, and every time I'm choosing which one I get to focus more, to round myself, like
Yeah.
to have the more like rounded
Yeah.
and more graceful experience.
Well, that brings up this question then, because obviously the name of my podcast is Grow Yourself. What would and again, you've done so much, but what would you tell the audience or recommend to the audience about one thing, one practice, or one thing that they can do to help them get into this continuous growth mindset? How can people learn to grow as human beings from the inside out?
I believe that whatever you started, meditation, start it with time. Put like a timer, like a
I
five,
see.
10 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever it works. Even you cannot do that in the beginning. Any
Yeah.
habit, you decided to learn the language, or you
Yeah.
decided to run in the morning and you cannot start it
Mm,
yet. Put a timer. Even you just putting the shoes outside or whatever. It's like giving yourself that permission to
mm,
try. And the time, just putting the timer
I
for five
see.
minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. Even you cannot meditate yet. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't happen over the day. It's happened over the
Yeah.
time. So
I
just
see.
continue to practice it day
Set
by
aside the time to do that. Well, let me ask you, Aisha, what makes you feel most alive right now?
living my dreams.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
I'm living my dreams. I always do. It doesn't matter if I have a zero in my account or I have thousand or 100,000, but I always living my dream. And being here in Lisbon, even having all these challenges as I have right now, I'm so grateful that I'm right next year is happening in few days. And I already have so much. I'm going to spend an amazing place. I'm going to travel for like a whole week. And I'm like my year already starting with the travels. In March, I'm going to take this boat for 6 months.
Wow.
already planning, next week we're going to plan all the passage that we're going. I'm
Wow.
really getting in with a team. I'm so like excited for the next year. And that's what I also used to the people. My new friends, they're always thinking, "Oh, she's the crazy one. She's hyper." Because I'm so hyper all the time. They think I'm going to be there with them forever. And I said to them, "Listen, guys, appreciate the time now because
Yeah.
I'm living my dreams. Today I'm with you. I'm very present and intense. I'm intentional. Tomorrow I'm not here anymore.
Yeah.
I'm flying and I'm going to do my pilot license this year, next year as well. There's like so many things happening, and I'm like, I'm doing it. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm really living my dreams. People say to me, "How did you do this? How did you do?" Listen, I'm just going Google. I'm like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I was living in a boat in Miami in Florida, I started to realizing I wanted sailing around the world. I was sailing around Florida, and I was living in the boat for a few months. But after I was like, okay, I got to do the whole course, and
Wow.
I started slowly moving. When I moved back to Portugal, I did everything. I get to go through this because it's my life. I'm the owner. I'm the captain of my. I get to do that. It's not about. Yes, I'm still party. I still like doing whatever. But like I'm always focusing on what matters for me in my life.
Yeah. No, that's a
I'm
beautiful
committed
thing.
to the next
Yeah.
steps.
Well, listen, Aisha Makara, what a pleasure it was to have you. You are a very exciting person, to just communicate with. And as you described, from where you came to where you're at now. And my last question was, what next? But you already just defined that to imagine that you've gotten your captain's license, you're about to go sailing for 6 months and working on your pilot's license. I mean, there's different ways you can describe people. You can say that they're interesting, that they're adventurous, and then up here might be crazy. I think you're right in here somewhere
I think I'm close to crazy.
in a very good
Oh,
way.
in this lifetime,
No, good for you, man.
all my dreams.
Good for you.
All
And
that,
you're
all of
you
it.
you are living your life to its fullest. So listen, tell folks where they can connect with you about your book. Your book I know is on Amazon, but just share a little bit about where people can make connections with you.
Through my website, Aisha.today is AISHA.today, where people can also book the time with me because I have a mentorship program that's called Joyful Living Program.
Oh, how beautiful.
And so I mentor people 3 months, 6 months, 12 months to live their dreams because all the experiences happening in the body. So everything we attract is through our body. So we get to
Mm-hmm.
align our body with the reality we want to live with.
Yes.
For that, we get to raise the vibration. So I'm guiding you. I don't like to say that I'm a teacher, but somehow I'm teaching you or guiding you
Right.
how to align your dreams with your body and how to live that, how to allow yourself, how to give yourself permission to be in that level or
How beautiful. And so if
remain
people
in that level.
yes, and so if people sign up to work with you or to allow you to mentor them, then you what speak to them every week or
Every
other
week.
week
Right.
and
Every week I give a homework. We're getting in set up intentions. I'm helping them to frame the year, frame the most what matters for them, what dreams they
mm,
want to live. I'm asking them what do you have a dreams? What
yeah.
dreams? How do you see it? First I'm asking a lot of questions, and after I kind of like understanding their the way of thinking
Yeah.
and how much they're spending time on just thinking because
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
I'm a doer, so I don't have so much time to think. I even don't have capacity of think what other people think about me, for example.
Who
Like,
who I yeah, so you work with these people who Aisha, give me a sense of who are the people that you work with that tend to be the ones who are successful in um, with their life when working with you and after working with you. Who are the people that seem to, because I'm a coach, right? I'm a leadership and soft skills coach, personal development coach, and I work with a lot of people, and some are very successful from the coaching and others not. So my question to you is, which ones are the ones that are successful?
The coaches or people?
The people, the people that you mentor.
I believe like we all like have capacity to be successful. Like, the things is how we practicing that, how we
Okay,
like center it.
I agree. Yes,
Success for me is completely different success what is for you, because for me success it's not about having $1 million in my account. It's about to have a life experiences. For example, that what I'm doing, with my life, what
right.
I'm creating for myself, the realities I'm creating for myself, living the dreams that I'm living. For example, going around the world on a boat, or doing my pilots, or like being the first astronaut artist. So for me, it's not about money. I just know the opportunity will arrive and I get to say yes or no to them. That's connected to my dream that I want to live.
Very interesting. Okay. So
And that's what
yeah.
I'm aligning people. That's for me, it's a success. For some people, it's a number. They want to have 1 million. And I'm asking them, okay, many people, many of my students, they say, like, I want to have 100 millions. I said,
Hmm.
okay, it's a number, 100 millions, write it down. Why do you want to have 100 millions? How you want to manage this 100 millions? What's the purpose of this 100 millions? You get to understand how many people you
Yeah.
get to hire for this 100 millions, because you have 24 hours a day. You have, like it's so many hours you get to still sleep. How are you
Hmm.
going to manage to make that amount? How much money you have right now? Because what business do you think you can scale up to that level? So
Mm.
it's a different question I get to ask to understand where they're at
Yes.
mentally. But
Yes.
people just want to have number just because somebody told them, because the programs, because of this. That's what they think success is. For
Yeah.
me, it's very, very different from person to person. So from my experience, 90% of the people, they want to have a number.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
They want something very measurable that they can put a point on it. Whereas if you said, if, I mean, maybe the complete opposite of that is to say, well, I want to be happy, which is very broad and vague. So somewhere between a number and a break and sort of just a broad statement, you have to, right, get to a point where it's clear, where it's focused, where you're
vision,
going, you know
have a
exactly where
vision
you
of the life. The vision is
vision. There you
my
go.
vision is joy and abundance. But
Love
the
it.
thing is how I creating it in my
That's
life.
right. That's right.
How I'm living that joy and
That's
abundance,
right.
my vision in this life, what it
Yeah.
is to live in the real world. Because you get to free yourself from all these
That's
programs
right.
of self-limited belief, of all these numbers, of all the materialistic things that was created. We are powerful creators. I used to say to the people, you are powerful creator. You're the
Yeah.
creator. You're here to create your
Yes.
reality. You're
Do you,
here.
speaking of creator, I'm curious about this. Do you operate from a spiritual standpoint, from uh, a, a religion or anything like this? I'm just curious.
Yes, I believe. Well, I'm a Buddhist. I was practicing a lot of Buddhist a lot of years. Now I'm moving more like towards the Orthodox, and I'm believing in God and idea of the angels, and really
Mm,
angels helps me a lot. And I talk to angels. I'm putting meditational music about like Archangel Michael or Gabriel and the other ones. Every
mm,
time, or Raphael, like I trust that my angels is always supporting me, and I
mm,
also trust that I'm already living in heaven. And in
mm.
heaven, everything is easy and simple. But the thing is, I'm still, Earth is not is it's like vibration to have to be in that vibration, and the thing is, I can be in that vibration, and it takes me time to cleanse it because I'm still have my, I call it like ancestors programs
Sure.
from my female side, because
Mm,
in my it looks like, because my mother abandoned me, I started to work my abandonment issues. I started to go deeper why it's happening, because a woman in my in from my like a lineage, they've been repressed. Probably they were witches, or that time like fairies, witches,
yeah.
whatever, the different thing that you believe in that.
Yes.
So because they're beautiful, they have all powers, and they can create things. They're very
Mm,
like a powerful creators from my
yeah.
lineage, because they're shamans as well from my
I
lineage.
see.
And go there,
Yeah.
I'm for sure I've been maybe even from the some kind of like a king or royal blood, because
Mm,
the way I'm creating the realities and the way I am, living in penthouse, for example, or like living in a big mansion or a castle, whatever,
Mm,
how you can imagine that level.
got it.
It's everything in my mind is like people asking me like how you can maintain to be like in a room or like backpacking, staying in a hostel because or living in a tent or I
Hmm.
don't have like in my mind I don't have the limitation. My girls, for
I
example,
see.
they have limitation. They cannot get and stay in a tent or stay in a
Mm,
boat. They
mm,
need to have five-star hotel,
right, right,
drive in the car. They
right.
want to have a husband or boyfriend who is like millionaire, whatever.
Yeah,
And but for me it's like I'm living with my heart, and heart
yeah,
has different experiences. It's like a lighthouse. So more I'm living with my heart, I'm not living with the pictures.
yes,
I'm living with a vision, what I feel,
yes.
and I have a
That's
vision.
incredible.
It's like it's very important to live with your heart. That's I
Sure.
started to learn from the beginning of my
It
life.
it must be a part of the mix for sure that that you engage your heart. Well, listen, wow, what a pleasure. I must ask real quick though, does Mongolian have a specific language?
Yeah.
Is it, and do you speak Mongolian then?
No, I mean I can speak.
Yes. So you have to say, when I was in the military, one of the first places that I lived in California, a guy that I worked with, his name was Bemba Barushkin. He was Mongolian, and we're still in touch, So can you say hello to Bemba in Mongolian?
Bamba to the Mongolian,
Yeah, to Bemba.
like
Just say hello to him so I can tell him that somebody said hello to him.
Sainu. I
He
can also
was, huh?
thank you, Barela. I think I don't know if it's correct way to say that. Barela.
Okay. Well, I have to be able to say that the girl from
Sainu.
Mongolian said hello to you.
Sainu or Barela is thank you.
Okay, that's beautiful. So, well, listen, Aisha, thank you so much for taking the time to be on Grow Yourself and sharing your life and your difficulties and your joys and your adventures. Wow. I mean, my head is just kind of spinning right now. But I look forward to hearing back from you maybe when you take off on your trip, and maybe we can, I don't know, maybe interview you somewhere in the middle of the ocean somewhere if you, have some satellite or something.
I'm up for that. Yeah,
Wouldn't
sure.
that be fun? Yeah. So, well, listen, thank you again for being on Grow Yourself, and God bless you and safe travels.
Thank you. Joyfully.
Thank you.